I woke up in the middle of the night last night and I saw a man standing in front of me. I rubbed my eyes and I opened my eyes and it was just the lamp. I never forget that. I just felt like a rock in my throat. It like penetrated my core and I was like, oh no, baby, no, you saw a man last night. So I sat both my boys down, both my little soldiers, and I said, listen, you guys had one night in this house and that's enough. This house isn't safe for you. There's something here. I said, Damien, you saw it. I saw it too. I said, you can't stay here with me. Do you know how hard it is to tell your kids that they can't live with you because it's not safe? Because you can't see what you're trying to protect them from? Like, you can't see it. How could I protect you when I can't see it? I don't know what it is. I don't know what it wants. I don't know what he's trying to communicate. That hit me, right? Not another day in the house. Not another day in the house. I mean, I instantly packed up my kids' stuff, moved my kids out. My kids didn't spend more than that night in that house. So I call my buddy up, Ragnar, and I'm like, hey, you're very spiritual like me. You know, he's an elderly staff. He has a lot of wisdom when it comes to like spirituality, entity, demonic beings. He's very in tuned. His pineal gland is very wide open. Very spiritual man. True blessing to have in my corner and as a kindred spirit to me. And I call him up and I was like, hey, I have a problem with this house that I just moved into. I don't know what's here, but it's presenting itself to my son and he's presenting itself to me. I said, I don't know what this thing is. Do you want to come over to the house and kind of help me woosah the entire vibe of the house? He's like, yeah, I got you. So my buddy Ragnar comes over to stay the whole night with us and we do what's called a candle casting. Now, a candle casting, certain entities, they have to abide by laws, rules, and regulations. All ghosts do. The dead to the living have laws, rules, and regulations, and the living to the dead, we have laws, rules, and regulations that we have to follow and abide by. So from the living to the dead, there's laws, rules, and regulations that you're supposed to abide by. So a candle casting is one of those things that they're supposed to leave. What it does is it lets the spirit know that it's unwelcome, that it's not allowed to be here, that it needs to leave the vicinity in which you are trying to protect. So it works great. It works like a charm. I recommend it to everybody who's having like a spooky or eerie kind of vibe in your house, or if you're struggling to be able to sleep. It's very much a form of candle magic. We placed several castings around this house. Now, the reason why we placed several is because it was a big house. And so we put a candle casting in the room that I was staying in so that I could sleep that night. Because the entity showed himself to my son, we placed one out in the living room, we placed one out in the kitchen, and then we placed one out in the family room as well. So we had 4 different sections with candle castings around this house to kind of be like, you know, get out. And we did sage. I smoked sage the entire house. And when I say I smoked sage the entire house, I'm talking every corner, a crack, floor, top, ceiling, every door frame, every window frame. I had my smudge stick of sage and I sage smoked the entire house. The house was so fogged out, beautiful. The energy was good. The aura was good. It was nice. It was so nice. It was a peaceful night rest, my second day in the house. So I felt confident, like, cool, I'll be able to have my kids come in soon. You know, I wasn't sure if this was going to kick it out permanently or if it was just like a temporary thing. I had never done a candle casting like this before in my entire life, but I had never really needed to do a candle casting. So it was definitely an educational moment for me to learn how to do that. Now, I think I pissed it off. I think I really pissed him off because he came at me tenfold. This entity came at me tenfold. Kind of one of those things like you walk into somebody's house and you try to tell them they can't be there. And this entity is like, yo, this is my house. That's kind of like how the situation happened. I was moving into its home. I was moving into its room. I tried to kick it out. He says, nah. That's kind of how this plays out. So I'm at work the next day. This would be the start of my 3rd day, right? This would have been my 3rd night in this house. Notice how I said would have been. I get a phone call while I'm at work. And Mia's hysterical, just emotionally like unstable. Like, I don't know what to do. She's crying, she's freaking out. You know, I just got off the phone with the cops, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, the cops? Like, what happened? Now, Mia's mom is the sweetest little Spanish lady you'd ever meet. When we talked to her about making arrangements for me to move in, for how we were going to play out rent, everything seemed like it was going to be lining up perfectly. All the goals were set. It was beautiful. So sweet of a woman. And I think something overtook her, and she was out of character. Very much out of character. So Mia's mom had never done anything like this to Mia in Mia's entire life. But for the first time, Mia's mom went over to have a conversation with Mia, and they were talking about, you know, whatever. Mia's like, you know, yeah, we'll have the money when we get paid at the end of the week. I'm having a yard sale. I made $20 here. Gave her $20. Mia's mom takes the money, rips the $20, and attacks Mia, lunges at her, to the point to where Mia's brother had to jump up and pull Mia's mom off of her. Once again, totally out of character. This woman, sweetest little Spanish lady, would never do anything, like, just completely out of character. And Mia got kicked out. Mia had to move out because of this incident. Mia didn't feel safe being there, and she calls me, and I'm like, oh, hold up, time out. If you're kicked out, I'm kicked out. I just moved in. This, like, are you serious? I didn't even have 3 nights in this house, and I gotta get out. So now I'm homeless. Thank God I had already moved my kids in with my mom, you know what I'm saying? So I didn't have to worry about placement for my kids. I knew that my kids were gonna be at my mom's house until I could either get rid of this entity or save up enough money to get my own place. So we go back that night, my 3rd night at this house, and we're packing up all of our stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm homeless, because my current landlord knows that I'm moving. I had already shut off the electric at my current place. I was living out in Titusville in the condominiums right there off Sisson Road, and the little townhouses. So I go back to my house, right, out in Titusville, and I'm still packing up my stuff. I'm still moving my stuff to the storage unit. We took everything from Mia's house that I had moved in there, and we put it in my storage unit. And that night, we're like, so much happened that night from being kicked out of Mia's house. It was like boom, 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 boom. I lost my house, I lost my car, I lost my phone, all in one night, within hours from each other. Now, I don't know if you guys know anything about demonic spirits. They can play with your peripheral vision and your depth perception. Entities, they're very fun like that, in a devious kind of way. And so I'm at the storage unit, we're unloading some stuff, and I go to like back out and turn, and I hit this like stationary pole that like wasn't there. It like was not there. Like, I literally walked past my car, this pole wasn't there. And I'm not oblivious. I very much pay attention to my surroundings. I just didn't see this like stationary yellow freaking little tiny... Listen, the whole front end of my bumper ripped off my car. So I'm like, Lindsay's laughing at me, I'm laughing. David's like, are you kidding me? Because he's my mechanic. So he's like, no, I gotta fix that. And then we get back to the house, and then my kids had a water bed, so we're like undoing, you know, the caps to the pillow water thing, right? And we're like draining it in the tub so that we can get the water bed packed up and put in the storage unit. And I felt, as I'm standing there dumping this thing, I felt my pocket move. Now, nobody's standing around me, nobody's standing beside me, but I felt my pocket move. And I look down at my pocket, and I see my phone pull up and then fall into the tub. Like, I watched it. Now, I wasn't bent over. I was not bent over. My phone just came up out of my pocket. Like, I felt it. I felt it move. So I'm talking to David, who's standing right next to me, and we're both draining it. And I was like, oh, and I grabbed my phone, completely submerged in water, which ruined my phone. So I lost my house, my car, and my phone all in one day. I'm trying to tell David what happened. He's like, oh, you dropped your phone. I said, no, bro, I did not drop my phone. My phone came out of my pocket. He's like, yeah, so you dropped it. I said, no, I did not drop my phone. David's like, listen, we're not going to reminisce. We're not going to hold on to it. You know, there's a logical explanation for everything. And I'm like looking at David like, after everything I've seen in the past 3 days, you can't tell me there's a logical explanation for what is going on right now.